It's my party and I cry if I want to. We sang that in high school choir and it was weird. It was weird that I sang that to you too, but okay. It is 2:23 in the afternoon and I am just having my first cup of coffee for the day. I ran 6 miles today for my half marathon training plan and then came home, ran to the library, and I just had the struggle of a lifetime getting my child down for a nap, who needed a nap but like would not go down. So I was not motivated to film, I'm not gonna lie. It's been a rough hour, but I need to film. So I'm having my first cup of coffee for the day because when I run, I don't like feel it. Afterwards, I would rather eat like carbs and coffee with my stomach after a run. No, thank you. But I'm 6 miles in. It was my first like super long run, I guess, for half marathon training. And that's in the middle of October. So speaking of October, today's video is a TBR. This is a very extensive stack, like a very huge stack. I have some content that I'm already working on that will be going up in October. You'll probably sense a theme in some of them. However, I'm just gonna go for this stack and explain it, and you will see the theme when it plays out in October. These are books I have out from the library, book club books, but also books I'm excited for, books for some content that I have upcoming. So this is very broad, it's a pile of possibilities, but I have a bunch of books also on NetGalley that are coming out that I'm excited for. So we are just gonna talk about the books that I'm looking forward to at least attempting to read this fall. Will I? Probably not, but attempting. All right, so we're gonna talk about the NetGalley books. And I'm just gonna go through like November for NetGalley books, and I'll just do a graphic right over here with all of them just because that's how I roll. So starting in September, I am looking forward to The River We Remember by William Kent Kruger, and then The Long Game by Elena Armis, which is a Ted Lasso inspired romance. So that's fun. And then those come out on September 5th. On September 19th, I have The Unfortunate Side Effects of Heartbreak and Magic, which was like described by the author as a practical magic, Gilmore Girls vibe, witchy romance. And then I have The Golden Gate, that's on the 19th. Rouge by Mona Awad is actually coming out on the 12th as well. And then in October, I've got a bunch of Christmas releases that are coming out that I'm not going to talk about, but you will see those later on in the year. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. I have got Lilith and the Unmaking of June Farrow, which is by Adrienne Young. Those are coming out in October. Lilith is a retelling that I'm excited for. October 24th, The Queen of Days by Greta Kelly. Let Us Descend by Jesmyn Ward. I love Jesmyn Ward, so this is her newest release. And then in November, I have The Sunsets in Singapore and A Dish Best Served Hot, which I think are both romances. So those will be fun. Okay, so those are the NetGalley books. So some books from publishers that are coming out that they so graciously sent to me. On September 5th is Herc by Phoenicia Rogerson. And this is about Hercules, but it's told from all the people who he like impacted, and it seems like it's kind of a tell-all. I don't know, there's just the formatting of it and stuff looks kind of fun, like it's a oral history type thing kind of, but more of like a tell-all from people who were impacted by him. So that's Herc. And then Naomi Alderman wrote The Power, which I haven't read, but I have it as a book of the month and I would like to read it before I read this just to get a sense. But this is The Future by Naomi Alderman, and this is out on November 7th. It is published by Simon & Schuster. I was really excited when I got sent. Their marketing for this package was just incredible. Came in like a gold bag, and then there was a box. It was just really, really well done. So these are books from publishers I'm excited about for the fall. And now we're just gonna kind of go for it. Some books that I've started but have not finished is where we're gonna go first. So Burn the Negative is a horror novel that I'm reading right now by Josh Winning, and this is about this girl who was in a horror movie back in the 90s, and it was cursed, and people on this set just kind of died mysteriously, but it all like matched murders in the book. Well, she comes back to write a piece on this story, or on this movie in present day, and weird things are happening again. The body count is increasing. It's been fun. It kind of reminds me of like Riley Sager a little bit, but I'm just so far really enjoying it. And then for nonfiction, I'm reading Seven Fallen Feathers, which is Racism, Death, and Hard Truths in a Northern City. This is about Thunder Bay, which is just north of Grand Portage, Minnesota, which is where I was at a few weeks ago. And it's about 7 Indigenous high school kids who died in Thunder Bay, Ontario, and 5 were found dead surrounding Lake Superior, and just kind of a journalism look at these Indigenous deaths in schools, which is unfortunately a reality we live in right now. And this is one of the 12 books recommended by 12 friends. This was recommended to me by my friend Carrie, and yeah, I just think this sounds right up my alley, especially because we frequently travel in that area. My audiobook of late is Financial Feminist, and I listen to Tori Dunlap's podcast, which is her first 100K, Financial Feminist. And this year, my husband and I are really like assessing our finances really hardcore. Her methods are great. I'm a fierce anti-Dave Ramsey person, so she's just great. Dave Ramsey has a lot of patriarchy issues that I can't deal with, and bad advice for estate planning because I used to be a former estate planning. But anyways, that's not the point of this video, so we will keep going. All right, so some more books. For book club, I have True Biz. This is a modern Mrs. Darcy book club pick. It's about, I think, some teenagers who are deaf at like a deaf high school. I've heard really good things about it. It got a lot of acclaim when it came out. My other book club book that I have in my possession right now is Bonk, The Curious Coupling of Science and Sex. I picked this for my book club. This year we're doing themes for each month, and the theme was sex, and like all my friends thought I'd pick a historical romance, which I was really tempted to, but I've always wanted to read Mary Roach, and then this is just her like scientific look at sex, but she writes really fun. So that's Bonk. And then also out from the library right now, I've got Girls and Their Horses. I rechecked this out. I started it but had to return it, and just the cards weren't calling me to want to read this at the time. That's not the right phrase, but I think you guys understand what I meant. It's about like really wealthy horse girls, and then a murder happens at the stable. Speaking of murders, 8 Perfect Murders by Peter Swanson. I am not gonna get that to it in August, so this will be pushed into September, along with a few others. So I have The Nest and Winter Counts, and then also I would like to get started on the Practical Magic series. I have 2 more in that series to read by Alice Hoffman. I have Magic Lessons, and then I think The Book of Life. I think that's what I have, the Book of Magic. So I have 2 of these to read, and I'd like to get those read. These will probably be more likely October reads, if I'm being really honest. But those are book of the months. I need to do a serious go to town on my book of the months, but clearly it's not always happening. Anyways, yeah, and then I've been slow but studying Caste by Isabel Wilkerson. This is also a book of the month book. Just really slowly trying to read it. Her writing is incredible. So this is just about how like systems are created that create castes within our country. Like you think a caste in India, but we very much have a caste system in the United States as well. And she just writes so beautifully. 2 books that I've talked about multiple times in videos and just haven't gotten to yet. I've purchased Her Majesty's Royal Coven by Juno Dawson because I have the second book on NetGalley. But this is about a coven of witches who there was like a civil war in witch community, and it kind of broke off and got divided, and one is kind of like the government and one is more new age freelance type witchery, but they're all friends. So like you just see the dynamics of that, and then this little warlock comes to power, and he's very, very powerful, and one side wants to help him and like get to the root of his trauma. One side looks at him as like a threat to witch kind. So there's kind of that dynamic in that. And then I started this Black Candle Women a while ago, and I just got distracted, got it put it aside. And this is about 3 generations of women who've lived together in California. One of the girls brings a boy home for the first time, and this family has a curse on them that any person they fall in love with will die. And so there's just that kind of dynamic here. Gwen, I know I said I'd send this to you, and someday I will. I just have to read it. So have not forgotten you, friend. I have not forgotten you. A book I'm in the middle of that I started in Minnesota on our trip and then didn't finish is this Tenderland by William Kent Kruger. I'd like to read it before his newest book releases, so wish me luck. This book also takes place in it is an indigenous school, but this boy, the main character, he is a white child whose parents passed away, and he sees all the atrocities that are happening and escapes after a very sad event occurs. And it is really good. Again, like, things have been happening and I just have not gotten to it. This is the story of my life with books. I start them. I'm such a mood reader that I start and finish. This stack of books is alluding to a video that I'm doing in October. I might be doing several videos just based on what I have. So I haven't actually talked about some of the books that will be in this series because it'll be kind of secret, but you'll kind of get the gist, I think, even from some of the other books that were in this stack. So Not Your Ex's Hexs by April Asher, A Witch's Guide to Fake Dating a Demon, and What the Hexs. So those are 3 rom-coms that have magical witchy vibes. Do with that in your imagination as you wish. You can probably figure out the theme from this very, very blatant stack. And then finally, I really would like to get to Hilo. This book was sent to me so generously by the publisher. This is a Harper book, and it is set place in the Big Island. It takes place in the Big Island of Hawaii, which is where I was last year. But this book is historical fiction and really talks about Hawaiian history and the wrongdoing that we as America and white colonizers have done on them. And it just talks about a family coming to terms with like colonization on the island and all of that stuff. I've just heard nothing but great things about this book from some people that I really respect. This takes place in Hilo, which is on the eastern side of the Big Island. And, you know, with the wildfire that happened in Maui, I just think it's now more than ever important to read books from Hawaiian voices, because I think we have very much whitewashed Hawaii, and we are not willing to, as a whole, address some of the harms we're creating down there through tourism. And like they're asking people to not travel there because resources are depleted and just all this stuff. So I just think that understanding some of the history would be very important for a lot of us. So that's one book I am super excited, prioritizing for sure in September to get read. But that is quite the stack. Like, this isn't all gonna happen obviously in 2 months time probably, but I can try. So that's where I'm at for my pile of possibilities. I'm probably gonna start doing TBRs again, I think. I don't know, because I kind of don't like the quality of reading I did this summer. Mood reading is great, but I found myself only picking up romance. And I love romance, do not get me wrong, but there's so many other books that have literary, horror, all these things that I want to read, and I just wasn't picking them up. So I think when I kind of have a pile of possibilities, I target my reading a little bit better and read more broadly. And that is my goal forever and ever, is to read broadly. So I think I'll start doing TBRs again. It might not be monthly because like this is going to be September and October for the most part. But we'll kind of just see here. It's my channel. I can do what I want. If you've read any of these, and tell me if I should prioritize any of them. Stay tuned in October for some content I'm really excited about. And until the next video, my friends, bye.